Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Back to School. Today's topic is about the natural resources. Natural resource is any biological, mineral or aesthetic asset offered by the nature without any human intervention. While you are walking through a lush forest, a soft cushion of needles keeps your footsteps silent. You smell the trees, you hear chipmunks in the branches, birds move back and forth. This is a beautiful place. But the trees may soon be cut down for lumber and paper. Can we keep our forests and still have the products we need? Coming to what are natural resources? Natural resources are the sources which are useful to man or can be transformed into a useful product. Natural resources are classified into two types: renewable resources, non renewable resources. Renewable resources are resources that can be replaced in a fairly short time. Plants actually need sunlight, air, and water to grow. We need air to breathe and water to drink. These resources are not used up. Sunlight, air, water, soil, and natural vegetation are always available. These are said to be renewable resources. There are certain resources that cannot be replaced. A non renewable resource is a resource that cannot be replaced or regrown or remade at a scale compared to its rate of consumption. The sunlight, the plants, the water, the volcanoes, and the rain. These are all renewable energy, whereas fossil fuel, nuclear energy, coal, these are all non-renewable energy. Ores are actually non-renewable energy. Ores contain metals and other minerals that people use. Copper, iron, and aluminum are some useful metals. Hematite is an ore that contains the metal iron. Miners dig into the ground to get rocks called ores. This picture shows the hematite, which is an ore that contains iron. Coal forms from plants that lived many years ago. It is important to protect our resources. Conservation of the resources is very necessary. Conservation helpful in wise use of natural resources so that people do not waste them or use them up. When people walk instead of riding in a car, they save fuel. Use products that have less packaging, they save paper and plastic. There is less garbage. Saving in these ways is called conservation. Protecting our resources is very important. Water from homes is filtered through sand in ponds like these in Florida. Farmers use the recycled water for their orange trees. In this picture you can observe the highest waste material is nothing but the paper. Next comes the plastic, metal, aluminum, glass and food scraps. Coming to forest resources, forests are important renewable natural resources on this earth. One third of the world's land surface is covered with forest. Forests are an important component of our environment and economy. Forests provide fuel, wood, coal, furniture, controls the soil erosion, saves the hill slopes from landslides. There are different types of the forests. Coming to evergreen forests, they are found in the equatorial regions where the temperature and rainfall is very high. Example, the Silent Valley in Kerala. Important trees are teak, mahogany and rosewood. Coming to tropical deciduous forest. Here in this, the trees shed the leaves annually. These tropical deciduous forests receive only seasonal rainfall. They shed their leaves during the summer season. Important trees are teak and sandalwood. Temperature deciduous forest due to severe winter with heavy snowfall, the trees shed their leaves just before the winter season. Coming to coniferous forests, the snow slides down the sloping sides of the trees. The needle-type leaves preserve the moisture. Important trees are pine tree, spruce tree. In India, Himalayan region have these coniferous forests. Functions of the forest. They are habitats to millions of plants, animals and wildlife. They recycle rainwater and remove pollutants from air. They control water quality and quantity. They moderate temperature and weather and help to maintain humidity. They prevent soil erosion and perform watershed functions. They promote tourism and contribute aesthetic beauty. Coming to commercial uses of the forest, man depends heavily on a large number of plant and animal products from forests for his daily needs, such as tea, fresh water, timber, livestock, the food grains such as the rice, tourism. All these are commercial uses of a forest. Deforestation in India is a continuous process. The per capita availability of forest in India is 0.08 hectares per person, which is much lower than the world average of 0.8 hectares. The presence of wasteland is a sign of deforestation of India. Deforestation is a process of removal of or elimination of forest resources due to many natural or man-made activities. In general, deforestation means destruction of forests. Causes of deforestation. Number 1 is developmental projects through submergence of forest area underwater due to destruction of the forest area. Examples: big dams, hydroelectric projects, construction. These all lead to the damage to the forest and to the deforestation. Mining operation generally reduces the forest area. Examples: mica, coal, manganese and limestone mines. Raw materials for industries. Forest products such as the wood is the important raw material for so many purposes. Example: for making boxes, furniture, etc. Fuel requirements. In India, both the rural and tribal population depend on the forest for meeting their daily need of fuel wood, which leads to the pressure on forest, ultimately to deforestation. Coming to forest fires, which are the major causes for the deforestation. Due to human interruption and rise in ambient temperature, forest fire is happened often nowadays. Commercial uses of forest. Forests supply wood. This wood is used as fuel. Forests supply wood used as raw material for paper, pulp, timber, etc. Forests supply minor forest products which give products like gums, resins, dyes, etc. Many plants are used in preparing medicines and drugs. Forest produces variety of animal products which gives rise to honey, ivory, hides, etc. Many forest lands are used for grazing, mining, recreation and for construction of dams. Coming to ecological uses, the first important thing is production of oxygen. During photosynthesis, trees produce oxygen which is essential for life on earth. Forest helpful in reducing global warming. The main greenhouse gas carbon dioxide is absorbed by the trees from the forest. Soil conservation. Roots of the trees bind the soil tightly and prevent soil erosion. They also act as wind breaks. Regulation of hydrological cycle. Watersheds in forest act like giant sponges which absorb rainfall, slow down the runoff water and slowly release the water for recharge of springs. Pollution moderators. Forests can absorb many toxic gases, help in preventing air and noise pollution. Wildlife habitat. Forests are the homes of millions of wild animals and plants. In this picture, you can observe the Karanji Lake, Bonal Bird Sanctuary near Karanji Lake. This picture shows the Timmammarri in Anantapur district. This is having touristic value. Ecotourism provides a growing income for those who have facilitated it. Several countries are now attracting the tourists. The forests have aesthetic value. Tribals use bamboo and wild grass for erecting the huts and in making mats, baskets, cots, etc. There are variety of daily plants whose fruits, leaves, seeds and roots are used as food by tribals. Alcoholic drinks and medicines are derived from forest plants. Aromatic oils and other oils used for lighting and cooking are also obtained from forests. Over-exploitation of forest. Due to overpopulation, the material supplied by the forest like food, medicine, minerals, timber, shelter, pulp and fuel is not sufficient to meet the people's demand. Exploitation of forest materials go on increasing day by day. This leads to large scale logging, mining, road building and cleaning of forests. The reason for over exploitation of forests in India is it has been estimated that in India the minimum area of forests required to maintain good ecological balance is about 33% of total area, but at present it is only about 22%. So over exploitation of forest materials occur. Causes of over exploitation are increasing agricultural production, increasing industrial activities, increase in demand of wood resources. Effects of over exploitation. It leads to heavy environmental damage, leads to migration of farmers. Tropical forests are destroyed, plant and animals become endangered, extinction of the marine population, dumping of waste into land, water and air. It leads to global warming, floods and drought, soil erosion and loss of genetic diversity. Loss of food grains leads to increase in the unemployment, leads to landslides in hilly areas. Preventive measures to avoid deforestation, that is the methods of conservation of forests. Reforestation through plantation, use of wood for fuel should be discouraged. Forest pests can be controlled by spraying pesticides by using aeroplanes. Forest fire has to be controlled by modern techniques. Overgrazing by cattle should be avoided. The government should discourage the migration of people into the islands from mainland. Education and awareness programs must be conducted. Strict implementation of Law of Forest Conservation Act is necessary. Case studies. Deforestation in Himalayan region involves clearing of natural forests and plantation of monocultures like eucalyptus, Camaldulensis, etc. Due to this, nutrient cycling has become poor and the soil is losing their fertility. Thus, the entire West, Kashi Hill Himalayas, Ladakh, Garhwal are now facing the serious problems of deforestation. Disappearing tea gardens in Chota Nagpur. Deforestation activities in the hilly region of Chota Nagpur lead to the decline in the rainfall to such an extent that tea gardens are disappeared from the region. Use of timber. Timber is used as raw material for various wood-based industries like pulp and paper, composite wood, furniture, etc. Timber is also used for various developmental activities like railways, boats, road construction, etc. The effects of the timber extraction includes large-scale timber extraction causes deforestation. Timber extraction leads to soil erosion, loss of fertility, landslides, and loss of biodiversity. Timber extraction also leads to loss of tribal culture and extinction of tribal people. Timber extraction reduces thickness of forest. In Indian scenario, in India, industries consume about 28 million cubic meters of wood per year, but annual forest growth is only about 12 million cubic meters per year. Mining. Mining is the process of extracting mineral resources and fossil fuels like coal from the earth. These deposits are found in the forest region and any operation of mining will naturally affect the forest. Mining operation requires removal of vegetation along with the underlying soil mantle. Here in this picture you can observe the mining, the surface mining and the underground mining. Surface mining needs enormous amount of land area for its operation and management. The extent of damage by underground mining to the forest resources is significantly less than that of the surface mining. Steps of mining. The first step is exploration, that is surveying and finding the resources. Development of the site. Exploitation, that is the extraction of the minerals. Ore processing, that is the separation of ore. Extraction and purification of the minerals. Effects of mining and the impacts of mining. Mining activity not only destroys trees but also pollutes the air, water and air with heavy metal toxins that are almost impossible to remove. Destruction of natural habitat at the mine and waste disposable sites leads to the formation of trenches leading to waterlogged area of minerals which in turn contaminates the groundwater. Leads to earthquake, leads to noise pollution, When materials are disturbed in significant quantities during mining process, large quantities of sediments are transported by water erosion. Mining reduces the shape and size of the forest area. Mining leads to occurrence of landslides, pollution of surface and groundwater resources due to the discharge of waste minerals in water, migration of tribal people from mining areas to other areas for searching land and food. Water is an important component of all the living beings. Nearly 80% of Earth's surface is covered with water. All organisms are made up of mostly by water. Examples: a tree is made up of 60% by weight of water. Animals are made up of 50 to 65% of water. Hydrological cycle involves evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration, and respiration. During evaporation, heat energy from the sun constantly causes evaporation from oceans, rivers, streams, lakes, ponds, and the surfaces of terrestrial organisms lose water due to evaporation. Condensation and precipitation. Rainfall occurs due to the condensation of water from a gaseous state in the atmosphere and falls to earth. Once water condenses, it is pulled into the ground by gravity. Transpiration and respiration. Most of the organisms contain significant amount of water, that is 90% of their body weight. Plants use the soil water for photosynthesis and to transport materials within them. Much of the water they absorb through their roots is lost to the atmosphere from the leaves. This process is known as transpiration. In animals and plants, the breakdown of sugars to produce energy, known as respiration, liberates release of byproducts, carbon dioxide and water. Thus, the process of evaporation, condensation, and transpiration is called hydrological cycle. In this picture, you can observe the hydrological cycle. Distribution of water resources. So, about 97% of volume of water is found in oceans and is too salty and cannot used for drinking, irrigation and industrial purposes. Of the remaining 3% fresh water, most of which is locked up in ice or in deep groundwater. Thus only about 0.01% of the Earth's total volume of water is easily available to us as usable groundwater. Types of freshwater resources: surface water and underground water. Surface water: standing water bodies such as lakes, reservoirs, estuaries, running water bodies such as streams and rivers. Underground water, which is not easily available. Uses of water. Consumptive use. Here water is completely utilized and it is not reused. Example, in domestic application, industry and irrigation. Non-consumptive use. Here water is not completely utilized and it is reused. Example, hydropower plant. Other important uses of water. Water is used for domestic purposes like drinking, cooking, bathing and washing. Water is used for commercial purposes like hotels, theatres, educational institutions, offices, etc. Water is for irrigation like agriculture. Almost 60 to 70% of the fresh water is used for irrigation. 20 to 30% of the total fresh water is used for so many industrial operations like refineries, iron and steel, paper and pulp industries. Water is very essential for the sustenance of all the living organisms. Water also plays a key role in sculpting the earth's surface, moderating climate and diluting pollutants. Overutilization of water, both the surface and groundwater, the rapid increase in population and industrial growth has increased the demand for water resources. Due to increase of groundwater usage, the annual extraction of groundwater is in far excess than the natural recharge. Effects on overutilization of water and consequences of overdrying of groundwater. Number one is decrease of groundwater. Due to usage of groundwater, the groundwater level decreases. Region erratic and inadequate rainfall results in reduction in storage of water in reservoirs. The building construction activities are sealing the permeable soil zone, reducing the area for percolation of rainwater and increase in surface runoff. Ground subsidence. When the groundwater withdrawal is more than the recharge rate, the sediments in the aquifer get compacted, which results in sinking of overlying land surface. This process is known as ground subsidence. This leads to structural damage in buildings, fracture in pipes, reversing the flow of canals and tidal flooding, lowering of water table, overutilization of groundwater in arid and semi-arid regions for agriculture disturbs the state of equilibrium of the reservoir in the region. This causes following problems: lowering of water table, decreased pressure in the aquifers, and changes in the speed and direction of water flow. Intrusion of salt water. In coastal areas, overexploitation of groundwater would lead to rapid intrusion of salt water from sea. The problem is water cannot be used for drinking and agriculture. Earthquake and landslides. Overutilization of groundwater leads to decrease in water level. The problem causes earthquake, landslides and famine. Drying up of wells. Due to overutilization of groundwater, the level of groundwater getting depleted at much faster rates than they can be regenerated. Problem is, it leads to drying up of dug as well as bore wells. When groundwater level near the agricultural land decreases, water containing the nitrogen as nitrogen fertilizer, that is the nitrate fertilizer, pollute the groundwater. Problem is, water becomes unsuitable for potable use by infants when nitrate concentration exceeds 45 milligrams per liter. Dams and their effects on forests and tribal people. Dams are also responsible for the destruction of the vast areas of forest and displacement of local people. India has more than 1600 large dams. Effects of dam on forests. Thousands of hectares of forests have been cleared. The forest is also cleared for residential accommodation, office buildings, storing materials, laying roads, etc. Hydroelectric projects also affect forest removal, provide opportunities for the spread of waterborne diseases. Construction of dams lead to killing of wild animals and destroying aquatic life. The big river valley projects cause waterlogging, leads to salinity, reduces the fertility of the land. Examples: Narmada Sagar project. It has submerged 3.5 lakh hectares of forest comprising teak and bamboo trees. Tehri Dam. It has submerged 1,000 hectares of forest, affecting about 430 species of plants. Effects of dam on tribal people. The greatest social cost of big dam is the widespread displacement of tribal people. Such a biodiversity cannot be tolerated. Displacement and cultural change affects the tribal people both mentally and physically. They do not accommodate the modern food habits and lifestyles. Tribal people are ill treated by the modern society. Many of the displaced people were not recognized and resettled or compensated. Tribal people and their culture cannot be questioned and destroyed. Generally, the body conditions of tribal people will not suit with the new areas and hence they will be affected by many diseases. Coming to dam and its benefits. Dams built as multi-purpose dams. Dams are built across the river to store water for irrigation, for hydroelectric power generation and to control floods. The first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, called dams as temples of modern India. Dams control flood and store water. Dams are used for diverting part or all of the water from river into a channel. Dams are used for drinking, agriculture, recreational purposes. Navigation and fishery can be developed in the dam areas. Disadvantages of constructing dams: displacement of tribal people, loss of non-forest land, loss of forests, flora and fauna, landslips, sedimentation and siltation occur, stagnation and waterlogging around reservoirs retards the plant growth, leads to breeding of vectors and spreading of vector-borne diseases. Reservoir seismicity causes earthquakes. Navigation and aquaculture activities can be developed in the dam area. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel. Whereas underground water is